So, Mark, we had another rainstorm this week, and what happens whenever it rains in Vegas? It seems a casino floods. This time it was Binion's, and the devastation looked pretty widespread. Trash cans saving it, or no?
Yeah, I love how they just bring in a huge trash can and let it fill up and then overflow. Like, what's the purpose of it if you're not going to empty them? But I think we need to go back a couple thousand years and introduce Vegas to the pitched roof plus gutters. Maybe that would help.
We don't do well with water here, but that looked like a lot of damage. I wonder how long it's going to take them to fix that.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy that this keeps happening, but you think they'd figure it out. And then we see it in Circa, like even new buildings. So whatever the cure is, they don't know. So it's like Europe and the screens in the windows. They don't know how to do that either.
Hey, at least we have screens, right?
Yeah, true. Keep the locusts out.
There you go. All right, Mark, the big news of this week is that Area 15 is expanding, and they have a partner, a big name partner. Universal Studios is going to be building a permanent horror attraction. Universal's popular for their Halloween Horror Nights in Hollywood and in Orlando, and they're going to take some version of that and bring it to Las Vegas as a permanent year-round attraction. And this is going to be the anchor of an expansion of Area 15 into the north side. Longtime Las Vegas locals will know that land as the old Scandia land where the mini golf course was. That's where this is going. So permanent horror coming, Universal coming to Las Vegas. They also announced a kiddie park in Texas. So it's an interesting kind of array of announcements. Kiddie park in Texas and Halloween Horror Nights year round in Vegas.
Well, we all know Universal's better than Disney, so that's good that they're coming to Vegas. Sorry, Mickey in the background there, but no, this is cool. I love Area 15. I think it's a really unique, cool addition to Vegas, and we went there and checked everything out, and I really enjoyed it. So I'm looking forward to having this add in, and it does seem like they just keep expanding. I wonder what they're going to do because it's already kind of a far walk between some of the attractions, so I wonder what they're going to do for that if they have something, because adding this to the backside is just going to make it even more difficult to get around. So I'm curious to see how they fix that, but this looks like something that's going to be great and a good new addition.
Yeah, so for comparison, Omega Mart, which is sort of the anchor tenant Area 15, is 52,000 square feet. This new Universal thing will be 110,000 square feet, plus there will be other entertainment and dining options as part of that expansion. I have a friend who works there, and he showed me how much land the Area 15 owners own, and there's even more than what they're doing here. So there could be even more possible expansions, almost all the way up to Palace Station on that side of the freeway. So there could be even more coming in the future years, but I feel like this is a big get. And we always make fun of Vital Vegas rumors, but he did rumor this, I think, last year or maybe 6-7 months ago. So congratulations to him for getting that right. But yeah, Universal excited to come here, and they're going to bring in their old properties, some of their classic horror properties, along with their new stuff that they're doing. And these mazes or haunts or live action events that they're going to do are going to switch out. So it won't always be the same. Kind of similar to how they do Halloween Horror Nights every year. They have different mazes themed to different movies. So I've never loved the scare places just because I'm a very jumpy person. Scared, somebody jumps out at you 15 times. It starts to rattle your nerves. So they're not my favorite, but I'll have to give this a try. And Universal is the best in the business at doing these horror things. So it's a perfect fit, fits in with the adult theme of Las Vegas. I think this is exciting, and it's good to see Area 15 expanding. There really is so much to do there, and more than either of us have done, although we do have that video on the channel highlighting some of the big experiences there. But it's almost turning into its own like a theme park area if you kind of add in all the attractions, although a very expensive one considering the prices of everything.
Yeah, I mean, Omega Market is massive, and this is going to be double that. So I can't even wrap my mind around how big that's going to be. And we've talked about at the end of last year how good Vegas is around holidays and stuff. So this is another thing that around Halloween, and I'm sure they'll do something special for around Christmas and end of the year and stuff. So I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be great. Area 15 is amazing. I can't say enough good things about it. I think Liftoff is one of my favorite things to do in Vegas now. So if you haven't gone over there, definitely check that out for sure.
Yeah, they're doing cool stuff over there. Look forward to hearing more about this project as it comes. No name has been announced officially, and they're still light on a lot of the details. So we'll keep updated on that progress as they build it out. Now let's talk about the company with Las Vegas in its name, but no Las Vegas locations. That's Las Vegas Sands. the former owner of the Venetian and many Macau casinos and the famous Marina Bay Sands in Singapore. When they sold Venetian, they said they were going to use that money to explore expanding into new markets, and they're finally making their bid to build a casino on Long Island.
Weird.
Yeah, it's going to be on the lot where the Nassau Veterans Memorial Coliseum is, which is an older sort of venue, I think about 50 years old, and they're going to get up to 80 acres to do that. A full integrated resort, 4- and 5-star hotel rooms, a live performance venue, celebrity chef restaurants, convention space. And the casino, they say, is only going to take up 10% of the available space. So the focus will be on all of that other stuff, but the casino hopefully bring people in and make them some money. This seems like a very sort of like, I know it's on a site of an arena, but it seems like on Long Island, in the middle of kind of neighborhoods. Do you think this is a good fit? I mean, do you think the people there are going to be happy to have this?
I mean, it's funny that we just talked about last week or last episode the neighborhood that's getting a casino built and people are okay with it because it's Vegas and it actually people were looking forward to it. And then you look at New York and people are like, no, I don't want a casino in my neighborhood. So it's like different opposite ends of the spectrum, but it is weird. I did, that 10% of the total space being gaming floor, I thought was interesting that they pointed out, like trying to underplay that it's a casino and wanting to be like, oh no, we're going to be bringing other things for you to do, and then I wonder if they like played with that number a bit where they're including like every room that they're building out as square footage, or if they're talking about just the land space. So I have to imagine that they played some games there to mess with people, but yeah, I don't know. If I go to New York, I'm probably not going to go out to Long Island to go check out a casino. So it's definitely going to be a locals only place, I think.
Yeah, and there are a lot of people in New York, obviously, who go to Atlantic City. And then there are some casinos coming in New York, like Resorts World has a casino now at the racetrack. So, that sort of exists there now. And I feel like the initial reaction by most people is, yeah, no casino in my neighborhood, but it can add a lot of good stuff. It can also add some bad stuff, so I could get kind of both sides of that. But I'm guessing that they're going to go forward with this. Las Vegas Sands kind of builds the best integrated resorts in the world. If you've been to their properties in Macau, even looking at the Venetian Palazzo in Las Vegas, how well it's integrated. I just stayed there the other night and kind of was marveling at that. I love Wynn Encore and just kind of a similar concept with the two casinos within the larger property. But if you kind of look at Venetian, how it's all integrated, how you connect to everything, how everything feels more cohesive, it's even better than I think Wynn. And they've done this all over the world, and they do a good job of that. That's their thing, the integrated resort. So I think in some ways this is probably a good operator if you're in New York and you want one, because there are going to be a casino somewhere, right? I mean, the licenses are going to get issued. So I think they could be a good partner for them, but we'll have to see. There wasn't any concept art released. Not a lot of information other than those high-level details that they gave, that it's going to be a casino with nice restaurants, convention space, a showroom, all that typical stuff. So, I would expect it to be pretty nice, but we still need to wait to hear more. And I think they'll probably have a few battles along the way.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's the best fit for the neighborhood and what they're going for. Maybe Wynn would be the other one, but Wynn just opened up in Boston a couple years ago, so they're probably not looking for any more expansion over there. And this is the next best thing, I think. If you do have to do it, even if you're against it, I think that you're at least getting this versus, a Caesars or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, isn't Caesars? Didn't we talk about? Aren't they trying to build something in Times Square? Or I forget what that story was, but. There are going to be other New York casino stories coming as well.
I don't see how that would fit, but yeah, that's a crazy story. I don't know that ever gets anywhere, but this one seems more legit because it is in the neighborhood. It's, not in Manhattan. I just don't see a casino being in Manhattan anytime soon, personally.
All right, speaking of Caesars Palace was robbed the other day, but this time they caught the guy. So they arrested him, and
they brought in They brought in the running cops from Flamingo. They after they helped the guy with $6 million get out of there, they went over there and busted the guy.
That, along with the robotic bouncer from Sapphire, they all came together, and they finally solved this casino robbery problem. Hopefully, stuff like this discourages future people from doing it. As usual, the media did cover this, but there's a lot of information that they didn't give, so we don't quite know everything, and that's sort of like the typical thing, but hopefully this ends the rash of robberies. I think we're up to 7 in the last few months. So yeah, not good. I don't want to talk too much about it anymore because what else do we have to say about a casino getting robbed, Mark? We've said it so many times in the last couple months. Here's a cool little perk that I found out about this week. You can use your library card at any of the libraries in Southern Nevada to get a free pass that gets you access to any of the state parks. So you use your library card, you can reserve one of these passes. There are a limited supply, but then you can get free access to all of the state parks. Unfortunately, it doesn't work for the federal land like, Lake Mead and Red Rock and stuff like that. But there are a lot of beautiful state parks in Nevada. And this is kind of a cool way to open it up to the community, take it so people don't have to pay, and make those outdoor areas more accessible. So kudos to them, and I think more areas should try this.
Yeah, I think it's a great program, a great plan. I wish it was just like you show up with your library card and show it and get in, versus having to go get a ticket and being limited. But I think it's amazing and something, I always enjoy checking out local areas. We talk about travel a lot and all that stuff and going to Vegas and things like that. But it's always fun to kind of explore where you live and maybe taking an hour drive somewhere and checking out something new. And when it's free, it's even better. So this is, a great option for people to kind of explore Nevada, because when you're a local somewhere, you don't really go and deep dive. And I know you've talked about this, even Vegas, like doing this show has you going into places and looking at things in a different way. And I think that's pretty cool. And this is another opportunity to do that for sure.
Yeah, I think it's a brilliant thing. I get why they don't allow you just to bring your library card, because then everybody would do that. And, they have a limited supply, right?
That's the plan.
They still got to fund the parks somehow. So
we already paid for the land with our taxes. So let us in.
There you go. All right. Did you see the story in The Sun about Adele needing seat fillers and struggling with her residency, or that's at least how they framed it? And it got kind of worldwide attention. I think The Sun covered it, but a lot of other places covered it. And there's a lot of pushback against this. I think the main problem with Adele, and kind of going back, she canceled that original residency, rescheduled shows, added more shows. But the vast majority of these tickets were picked up by ticket brokers. And, we saw tickets as soon as they went on sale on the resale market for upwards of $40,000. Now those same kind of tickets are down to about $4,000 for those kind of front row tickets. And, if you try to buy a ticket right before showtime, you might be able to find somebody dumping a ticket for $100 or something like that. So they are using seat fillers because a lot of people are not showing up. But I think that's more a sign of ticket brokers not being able to get crazy sums of money for their tickets. And all the shows are sold out. So, it's kind of, on one hand, it's fun to kind of, attack Adele. Not really, but I'm glad she's doing well. But on the other hand, that's not so true. Using seat fillers is something that they do quite often in Vegas. But is it really her fault if brokers bought all the tickets and now they're not selling them, or they're dumping them and kind of holding out so that there's a lot of empty seats?
The real question is here: how do you become a seat filler? Like, how do you get that job?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, give me a call. I want to go see Adele, please.
Yeah. No, I mean, the fact that they're all sold out, what do they care? Like, if I'm Adele, I sold out. We made money. That's the whole point of this. But you do want to see, you want to get that vibe of everybody in the seats. So I see why they fill it a little bit, so it just doesn't take away from the experience. I feel like it's just the whole entertainment industry is overpriced, people, and that's playing a role here too.
I agree. And I think maybe the strategy with ticket brokers is to keep the prices high and maybe eat tickets, so they can get those sales what they can. When the face value of a ticket is $400, but then they're selling it for $4,000, maybe there's a lot of people who would pay $400 but not $4,000. It's a point that needs to be made. There are very few smaller shows left in Las Vegas. COVID destroyed so much of the entertainment industry here, and now all you have are these big ticket events, these big residencies, these hugely expensive shows. And gone are the days of the, smaller entertainment with the cheaper tickets. And there were so many good shows in Las Vegas before COVID, and not even just before COVID, going way back. All of that's gone. When is it going to come back? We need somebody to bring back some of this smaller entertainment, and maybe we can fill showrooms that way instead of being $400 a ticket or $300 a ticket. There's only so many people who are going to pay that, and it sort of kind of takes away from the lure of the entertainment of Las Vegas. All right, I did want to finish off by talking about the Hard Rock status match, because I finally got a chance to do that. MGM sold Mirage to Hard Rock, and now they have their Unity program, and they are matching MGM status into their program. And I went there the other day. It was very quiet, walked right up, handed my MGM Gold card to him, and it was no problem. He gave me the icon status. Now, there is a sign that has been floating around, a picture saying that MGM Gold equates to the lower tier, but for whatever reason, since the beginning, they've been matching it to Icon, and I had that same experience. So that gives you kind of priority access to a lot of things. And what's really good is that Unity status is kind of global to all their casinos now, except for I think Atlantic City's still in the process of switching over. But you also get 10,000 points, which is good for $57 in free play or $100 food and beverage credit. So that's worth doing it alone, and it was kind of nice to walk over there. And then I got to watch the volcano, which I hadn't watched in a while, and it was raining, the same kind of rain that flooded Binions, and it was glorious. It was great to watch it in the rain. I forgot how much heat you can feel coming off the volcano. There was probably only about 20 people out there watching it with me at 11 o'clock at night. And yeah, it was a great time. Reminded how much I love that show. And I felt very kind of melancholy afterwards, kind of realizing as I took it all in, you know, what exactly is going to be there, that monstrosity of a guitar tower, which, by the way, I do like, but it is going to be a different vibe. And that kind of made me sad for a minute.
Yeah, definitely. You know, that's a cool show. And I'm glad it was working while you were there because, you know, we've seen so many times that it's just under repair or not functioning properly. So that's cool. And I hope they keep it up as much as possible until the end because I know a lot of people are going to want to check it out. But yeah, if you're in Vegas, definitely do the match, get the $100 in food. Did they say when it's going to end by any chance? Like when they're going to stop doing matches?
So I asked him that specifically, and he said there's no end date announced. So it could be any time. I expect it'll go on quite a while because there's a lot of like MGM people, right, that they got to get through there. The card does say it expires February of 23, which is next month. So I think they're going to renew all those people. That's what I've heard. I did not ask that, so we'll try to get more information on that. I can't imagine they're just matching for a month and then, you know, you're out of luck.
Hey, you got your $100. What does it matter?
And you just have to have activity every 6 months to keep the points. So if you match and you're never going to use it, make sure you use up those points within 6 months. But like I said, you can load it as $57 in free play if you don't want the food, and you can try your luck, see if you can turn that into some cash in your pocket. But other than that, I mean, it just felt like Mirage, same old days. Not a lot changed there. Some hard rock stuff here and there, but we won't see any big changes for at least, 9 months, a year, until they get those plans finalized. So get out there, watch that volcano, match your status, take a little free play or free food, and enjoy yourself. Enjoy what's left of Mirage.
We should mention if you have Hyatt status, Globalist, or Explorist, you can match that over to MGM. You can do it online, which I know Sean will put a link to an article explaining all that. So then you can get MGM Gold, and then you can go do this. So if you have that hotel status, then definitely, this is worthwhile to do as well. You don't have to earn MGM Gold to get it. So that's pretty cool.
Cool indeed. And that's going to do it for this week's show. Let us know what you think about anything we talked about today. The Mirage volcano in the rain. You think that's a cool experience? Universal coming to Las Vegas. Binion's flooding again. All of that stuff. Hit me up in the comments. We'll talk there. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you receive notifications of all of our videos. We do 2 videos a week, Tuesdays and Fridays, and we will be back with another video in just a few days. Thanks so much for watching. Talk to you next time.
Have a good weekend, everybody. See you on Tuesday.